Hi, everybody. It's Alex Jarett with Technology Executives Club, and I'm really happy to introduce you to Elaine Cartier. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, Alex.
How are you? It's great to see you again.
Good to see you. I'm doing great.
That's great. Now, Elaine currently is head of digital transformation at Ciena, but you've also had a wonderful career at a lot of other companies doing digital transformation. As I recall, CDW was the one that I always think of because you were around doing their website when that was like a really new big thing, and you did their whole front end customer experience, and you've also done a lot of other work. So you've got a lot of really interesting ideas about digital transformation. I just want to add one more thing for the viewers is one thing I always liked when we did our initial board of advisor interview was that your original degree was organizational psychology, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and and I know just from knowing you and talking to you, that still is something you're really interested in. Am I right?
Absolutely. The part of the digital transformation work, a lot of it is working with humans. So
Yeah.
organizational psychology is absolutely come in much more handier than I ever thought.
Yeah. That is really amazing. And by the way, folks, if you haven't watched Elaine's full-blown interview, make sure you do. I'll put a link when I post this, I'll put a link out there for everybody. But Elaine, tell us a little about what you're working on now. This is a spotlight interview. It's not like we did before. It's just a few minutes. Tell us what you're working on now. What kinds of things are really saying this is really interesting?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm always happy to talk to you and have some connection here. So as we're moving forward with the transformation journey at Sienna, one, I have the luxury and the pleasure of having a team of product managers and program managers and scrum masters to help
Hmm.
deliver transformation to Sienna. And every day I coach my team. They have to think about what is the business outcome, what is the business problem we're trying to solve, so that we will be delivering the right product to solve the right business problem and make a
Hmm.
business impact. Along the road, in addition to the digital transformation framework I have developed, I always think about what is that success measure? How do we articulate the value of transformation to our leadership or our peers or our teams? So that's one of the things that's top of mind for me right now.
Hmm.
And I've been doing this work for 20 plus years and I still learn something new every day. While change management is a very common and foundational concept to
Hmm.
transformation, when we're doing technology implementation, we often talk about industry best practice.
Yeah.
What is the industry best practice, and are we following that? And how do we change our process to make sure that we're taking advantage of what other people have already developed? I think that is a really great starting point. And along the way, I've learned that starting with industry best practice is really great. Every business, yes, there's some nuances and differences.
Hmm.
In addition to that, understanding the frontline workers' experience,
Hmm.
what they deal with on a daily basis, what do they have to do to manage their day-to-day work or their business is extremely important because that input will help us to design a much better user experience
Hmm.
so that they would adopt the technology, that they would change their processes, and then we're really using the technology that's been implemented to drive that value. So, people call it maybe the human-centric design approach or user
Yeah.
experience approach. And I want to emphasize that more and more because it's not just about implementing the best practice, but we
Hmm.
really have to take into that user experience and allowing our users to tell us what are the things that they need. So um, that's something that it's not easy to do. There's a lot of work, a lot
Yeah.
of questions and time you have to spend in that, but I have found it to be much more rewarding when that conversation is had and that design is in place and the users are much more inclined to adopt that new technology and process.
That's really interesting. I mean, every time I talk to you, there's a different sort of theme or topic that you're almost like a scientist. You're like thinking through all these different things that make this process work. And it's very interesting. It's actually quite inspiring to listen to you. I remember last time we spoke, you talked about you had developed, and you mentioned, you made sort of a side comment here. You have a framework for creating successful digital transformation journeys. And I remember you talked about how that started with the business goals and objectives, and how do you really pin down what those are, and then you come up with how is this going to translate into you even said it back then, a better customer experience. In this case, you're talking about those front end workers, but it could be the customers, it could be anybody who this technology is affecting. And I always thought you really had a great system, and you created that system over, like you said, over 20 years, and you have a proven roadmap to getting these things done. What's really interesting to me now, I was also interested in last time, was that your organizational psychology just keeps coming back. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, all the technology leaders that are really successful that I always talk to, it's really interesting to me. You led today, even as we were prepping for this short little interview, about people.
Yeah.
And I could ask you, well, what's news about AI? And you would probably talk to me about people.
At the end of the day, especially in this remote world that we're
Yeah,
working in, it's you have to make that extra effort to connect with each other. And I recently just heard this concept about being a connector.
yeah.
When you go networking, I think Alex, you're a connector.
Well,
When you go
maybe.
networking and you're a connector and not necessarily just talking to people. So
Yeah,
I thought that was a really interesting concept. And how can I be a better connector at work, whether it's through my day to day or
yeah.
maybe something that I heard. So that's something new that I've learned that I want to strive that I aspire to, is to become that connector within the organization.
Well, not only within the organization, but within the overall technology and business community. I mean, that's part of, I know what one of your goals is with just being on the board, is sharing your insights. I mean, you've got wonderful insights. This is a spotlight interview. We can't do it all in this one interview. So I think you and I, as soon as we hang up on this, we're going to plan our next leadership session, right? That's what we just talked about doing. So folks, I can't wait to share that with you. In the meantime, uh, thank you for doing this particular segment. We really appreciate you. And folks, be sure and watch Elaine's Board of Advisor interview, which was really great. Anything
Thank
else?
you, Alex. Always good chatting with you. Thanks
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity.
Thank you. Thanks for your time today. Appreciate you.
Take care.